something. There is headlines or stories, cover stories that the Newvision has been running the entire week about a crisis in the National Unity Platform, a crisis about this and that in one way or the other. And I think you have been following these particular stories. And of course, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu has spoken widely about this particular issue, as well as your boss, Mr. Senyonyi. And the party position, of course, is well known. But I would like to emphasize on this particular point, for you to emphasize to us, the party position, number one, and number two, why would you think the government is coming up with such headlines in their own paper that are unsubstantiated and things like that? But also to have pushback on this particular issue. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you very well.
Yeah, and also to have pushback on this particular issue. Some people, the freedom of speech activists, especially on different social media platforms, Twitter and Facebook, they had pushback towards the party, saying that if NUP, cries that they are being gagged that Museveni is gagging the media, to prevent the party, to prevent especially a person like you to be hosted on different TV shows or radio shows, to prevent Bobi Wine's music to be played, and also different articles that are being written by the National Unity Platform not to be published in different newspapers, and then you blame Museveni for gagging media as well as gagging journalists. But what the pushback people are putting out there, the freedom of speech, quote unquote, activists, they are saying that isn't this another form of gag on the media? Like, just because Newvision is not writing stories that are not in the best interest of the party, then this is the National Unity Platform. So now you are fighting back and saying that, okay, now this is propaganda. But when Museveni complains about the monitor, we say, oh yeah, monitor is on the right side. I don't know if I'm understood very well. I'm being understood very well.
So
you get the idea, but then also there is pushback that
now
that we should let people write. We should let journalists write whatever they think is right for the public to consume, and let the public decide. So what would be your take on that particular matter?
What I enjoyed in my law class in criminal law was the notion of actus reus and mens rea. Mens rea is the mind, and actus reus is the action that you put after having a mind of what you want to do. If I want to kill you, Fazil, I leave home when I have thought about killing you. Then I will have the act of having the knife and then stabbing you. Now, the Newvision's mens rea is to project hopelessness in the members of the struggle with fake news and deceit, such that, Fazil, this government has more money than we have. This government has guns, we don't have guns. This government has anarchy, it has the state. What we have is people power. The reason I can face you now and speak whatever I want to speak is not because I'm not phobic to what happened to me, but because I am speaking for the people of Uganda. I am not speaking for General Museveni. So I am protected by the people of Uganda. Now, what Museveni does is that small rope is to isolate you from your protection. And as he's isolating you from your protection, he is flashing you with money this side, he's flashing you with cars, he's flashing you with niceties, such that when you break away from the oppressed people. And the oppressed people could no longer have trust for you to give them direction of what you're supposed to do. General Museveni is very scared of the second phase of this revolution because he saw how far we went with the first phase. The first phase of Mission 2021 is the one we just concluded that he robbed an election. you saw how much he saw resilience of us running a militaristic election that had never happened before. There is no way we would have prepared for such an ugly election. But we went in, our hearts were solid, our mind was solid, we were looking for the promised land. And that is what we are doing. Now, the New Vision's background, as I have said, and why we are so, it is first of all fake news. No newspaper has liberty to publish fake news. If you want to publish fake news, then you classify yourself as a tabloid. We are not talking about the red paper. We are talking about a government newspaper, the New Vision. It is we are simply saying they are supposed to work beyond that. Let me juxtapose the two stories that they published. The first story they published on Monday was saying that we have ideological differences. Ekigambo ideological kitegeeza nti tufunyemu obutakkaanya mu nkola y'emirimu, nti abamu baagala kola gya musolesole, fe abalala twagala kola gy'amaanyi. Ye yali first story ya New Vision. Second story neekomawo nti bannanga ate kati bakayanira ssente principal yagamba bamweyo emitwalo asatu. It is simply that era Doni Wanyama kubanga kati yafuna kumukisa okufuna ku ssente kati ng'omusaala naye bw'oyogera ku Kyagulanyi nti asabye emitwalo asatu olabira ddala ng'abantu bano they are not apt to whatever they are doing, they are not apt to whatever they are saying, but they are apt to creating hopelessness in society such that we are not cohesive. Because you know, leaders here in Uganda that claim to be in the opposition are not united with us. But the people are united. And General Museveni has gone out in those other political parties and outsourced them to also attack us. So the only backstop that we have, the only defense as members of the National Unity Platform we have is people power. And that is why General Museveni will do everything to project the National Unity Platform as naive, as hooligans, as ignorant, and then later they will come up with those fake stories, such that there is that confusion in the critical mass, and the critical mass stops to follow us. But to sum up what you said, we are very positive to anybody who criticizes us, and we shall reply to that criticism positively as long as it comes with a good heart. But one who is working to our collapse, we shall not. We shall not. We shall come out hard, and we shall come out hard on them. Nobody has liberty against the National Unity Platform to publish fake news, to publish blackmail, and also to insult us. Nobody should have that monopoly. We shall definitely fight back.
Okay, so I know your picture is a bit static now. I think it's a problem with your network that side.
Yeah, I can realize my network is now being, as you can see.
It will be all right.
But here, once you know, I was on Baba the other time. They switched off the Fazil 4 times. It's a joke. 4 times power was switched off. When I'm on talk shows, the presenter is called more than 5 times at every break on how to manage us and the truth we are speaking. I don't go on CBS. I've been there once. But I am domicile of Rubaga. But because we are not a platform, so it is not business as usual, even in the media.
All right. So now, still in the news, because given that we are talking about these stories, there's another story that ran in the Daily Monitor. I don't know if you followed it. Can you hear me?
I am getting you loud and clear.
Yes, there's another story that was in the Daily Monitor on the 16th of January that said that there was inside attempts to prevent influential NUP diaspora from disintegrating. Now, I of course I follow Mr. Robert Kyagulanyi, sorry, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's Facebook page, and it was quite fascinating that, of course, he did not say anything. Okay, they clarified in the press conference, but of course, he did not post about this particular story, if I'm not mistaken, like the same way he posted about the New Vision story. What does this mean? Is there any sort of disintegration within the NUP diaspora or something that we don't know of, and maybe you could clarify about it?
We are not deceitful people.
Mm.
And we are not a collection of people who do not discuss issues. Our teams in the diaspora, as you might be aware, have been running this from the time of the inception of People Power. They were directed as coordinators, and later we evolved into National Unity Platform. Therefore, we have members who, up to now, did not evolve into the National Unity Platform party. There are those who remained, who claim to have remained People Power, and we have been having discussions of all those teams to see how we integrate and organize them further. And there has also been an issue on how we create more cohesiveness within the leadership of the diaspora. Because as you realize, we have teams in the UK, we have teams in the US, we have teams in the Netherlands, we have those in Asia, and there has not been a fitting communique between all these diaspora teams to have them harmonize on how they run their own affairs. But that is something we are handling internally, and as you have heard, we have handled that internally, and very soon I believe the president is going to have a communique to the members of the diaspora. He's doing a lot of consultation, and I would not want to be the one at this time to come and break news of what our consultations have been about. However, it is our process, it is our DNA that our leader does consultations on all matters. And in the process of these consultations, of course, he will get different views of different people, which I will not qualify to be disintegrated, but I will qualify to being a process of consultation to get everybody's mind on board, because this is not about him. This is about Uganda.
Okay.
There are questions also on the issue of elections, in the diaspora, and I think that was cured by a report. And I believe also that in the coming days and weeks, the president is going to come up with an informed position on and communique on the diaspora. But
All right.
there is also what all of us see, and I don't want to sweep it under the carpet. There are a lot of internal disagreements that have become public, and I think, and I would want to use this opportunity to ask you members of the diaspora that your cohesion is very vital. We cannot lose any soldier. We cannot lose any soldier with egocentrism. Let's forget our egos. Let's practice humility, because the biggest force in the world is unity. And General Museveni will use all his forces to divide us.
All right.
Let us struggle as a people to be together. So I want to say that the diaspora is not disintegrated, but there is a lot of wide consultation, and probably some people are privy to a few of those other ideas that come up and term them as disintegration. But very soon, the president will come out with a communique.
All right. So while I usually, walk around the streets of Facebook and Twitter, you see, what is interesting about social media is that the way people view Uganda on social media is completely different from how people who watch TV and maybe who listen to radio view the events in the country. It's really interesting. And most of the times, before TV and radio airs anything, on social media, it has already made rounds, as well as all these platforms and And what I've seen of recent is that actually most news organizations, most media companies in Uganda are now actually picking news from these social media platforms. The reason that's why I'm raising that particular situation is that there are some things that happen on social media that might not break it into the mainstream news in Uganda. For example, if you look at there is something that is happening, and it really discomforts me as a person, and I think it's misleading, and some people as well, that leads to, for example, what you termed it to as fake news. Because if we say that there is fake news that is coming from the state in form of propaganda to mislead the struggle and to mislead Ugandans, would you really say that the same is not happening within the party, number one? Because we have seen situations and scenarios where we see people who, even some of them, have positions, or some of them have been seen with the president himself, that is Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu. They have been seen with him, and these are the same people that come and make statements on social media, blackmailing, number one. Number two, also, soiling, leaders, people's names. For example, if you come to members of parliament, someone says that, oh, so and so, this member of parliament is no longer part of the struggle. This particular councillor is no longer part of the struggle. Oh, this one is this and this. Blackmail, and of course, all these people they get following, and they have people who watch them and listen to them. But we rarely see the party coming out to address these particular issues and giving a stand on such issues. For example, if you look at a gentleman known as, there is our brother, Comrade Segirinya, when he was arrested, most people were we were all expected to be sympathetic with him. But as sympathy dried out, people now started saying that the gentleman must have ate Museveni's money, or things, such allegations. And now when you do that, it creates some sort of doubt within the party, within the supporters of the party, and it splits the camp. Some saying that, yes, Segirinya did this, or some saying he did not do it without evidence. Now, when the party, Mr. Waiswa will be back a bit. So just bear with me for a few, and I'm just trying to elaborate a point, and I hope he gets it. So we're gonna get him back, ladies and gentlemen. Mukulu Waiswa, just click on the link, and you'll be back in the studio. As we wait. So for those of you who have questions for Mr. Waiswa, you can just post them there, and I will be reading them for you. You just have, a few minutes, like 30 minutes left for the show. Naye tugenda kulaba what next. Okay, so Mukulu Waiswa, please click on the link. Pamu, give people the link. Facebook to talk about Gundiani. Posts z'omukulembeze z'abakoze mu week tujja ne tuziyita mu kuchoto. Every Sunday we come and speak about, or talk about posts that are being made by His Excellency Robert Chagulanyi Ssentamu, as well as those that are made by the party. So we look at those posts that have been made in the entire week and come here and break them down with Mosh. So we shall be with Mosh tomorrow, inshallah. Hopefully he will be around with us.
For you, ekibuzo ky'obadde obuuza nange kye mbadde nninze kubanga bagamba awali omukati owabula muliro, but at the same time tumanyi muno twafuna twajjirwa babuloga. Omanyi Kyagulanyi yajja naye yaleeta opportunities nyingi, and one of those opportunities yaleeta ze z'okufuuka buloga ofune ku ssente. Kati abaana buli omu yali alina akasimu akali smart, ng'alinako ne ku data, ng'amugoberera, ng'akwata live, ng'afuna abagoberezi, nga buli omu anoonya content, nga buli omu anoonya content akuma abagoberezi. So ne waliwo akasajja awo, oba ka kansala, oba ka member of parliament, oba kaani, era nga woogambye kabeerawo ku kitebe, weekali tukalaba mu bifaanani, okalaba mu meeting ezimu oluusi omulaba n'abakulu naye omusajja yalumba mpuuga sajja yalumba mpuuga nga buli wadda ku live ng'akuba mpuuga banenga ngamba kano akasajja byekoogera kabijjawa naye ate ng'okalaba kasajja kali legit mukamanyi buli omu akamanyi ku kitebe tukalaba naye nga kakuba mpuuga nga kali oluusi ngeneŋŋaawa olumu ngenda kulaba mpuuga nga kakuba ebikonde mu meeting kuba kalumba kamukuba bbeeya nnako nga kamukuba kati my point is this. If there is anything worth addressing, why isn't it addressed within? And because if a guy like that comes out in public to humiliate such a big player in Noop, Mpuga is a big player. He's a vice. He's a deputy. And somebody comes out, somebody we know that actually hangs out with the big guys, comes out and begins to publicly humiliate a big player. Where is the right platform? What are the procedures of Noop? What are the processes Noop has put up to address such internal conflicts? Either between that guy, if that guy has personal issues that he's addressing online against Mpuga, how do we reconcile those conflicts? Yeah. Because this guy, obviously, he has a following, and his following is kind of he has a following which follows him because they know he has inside information, because they see him rubbing shoulders with people who we love. So if this guy is actually damaging us, can we say he has credibility because of the fact that the very fact that we see him with our guys, or should we dismiss him? So we were in a dilemma. Should we dismiss what this guy is saying? How can we dismiss it when we actually see him with the guys? So it was so hard for us. It was painful. And we thought maybe he will do it once and then they'll take him down and put him in a meeting. It didn't happen. But every time that guy came, Mpuga. Abantu ngabo bebasinze otukola obubi. I don't care whether Mpuga ina kyali kyesimanyi naye omuntu okujja ku internet n'olumba omuntu gwenjagala, omuntu gwendaba alwanirira eddembe lye tunoonya, ali ku cause nojja n'omulumba kuba teri ali perfect. Nze kankubulire teri ali perfect. Ne waba Bobby, nze ndi ku Bobby whether he has, because I know he has weaknesses ate saagala na kuzimanya. Mumanyi omutima gwe kuva dda bino ebintu abyenyigiddemu kulwaba naku kulwaba tesobola, naye omutima gwe kuva dda guli ku mulamwa. Ayinza okuba alina weaknesses ze ng'eziyinza okuyingira mu struggle nga ye, naye tekimu disqualifyinga kubeera nga ye muntu omutuufu okulwaninga cause. Era kino mmaliriza, I am going to say this. Buli muntu yenna, if these things come out to be true, nti waliwo abantu ababikaringa, abagezaako okwemulugunya, abagezaako okweyawula, abagezaako okuleeta conflict. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a deputy. I don't care if you're a small MP. I don't care. Newabeerawo omuntu eyakuggyako ssente bw'okuwa ekifo ky'okwesimbawo nga yakikola nga ye okono n'erinnya lya pate kati nga bivaayo. Ebintu ng'ebyo tebigenda twawula ku Noop. Ate we bitwawula ku Noop oba ne bitwawula ku people power tebijja kutwawula ku Kyagulanyi. Tujja kukwata Kyagulanyi waffe tumwawule ku Noop, tumwawule ku people power, tumutwala awala tukole ekirala. Naye nga tulemera ku Kyagulanyi. Kyagulanyi is the core of what we are pursuing. Kyagulanyi is the core. Ebisigadde matabi tujja gatemako. I hope those are not true. But buli muntu yenna yali eyo yeesudia ng'alowooza nti ajja kutwawula ku Kyagulanyi, tekijja kubaawo. Tujja kubeeyawulako mmwe tusigale ku muti Kyagulanyi, mu amatabi tubatemeko. people power abantu bonna mu nsi yonna Uganda and diaspora tuli ku Kyagulanyi abasigadde mutwegasseko bwegassi ffe twegatta dda as a nation nga Kyagulanyi watero bagamba abantu begatta dda ffe twegatta dda era twegattira ku Kyagulanyi abasigadde oba baawukana bagende naye ng'ebintu ebyo sikkiriza nti birimu eggumba. Those are rumors and propaganda, and some of those people abali mu party abaasooka okuleeta propaganda ono balina okubatuuza wansi babawe public statement twagala zifulume ku bantu abo like that blogger yasinga okukola damage ono era Newvision eyinza okuba ekwotinga ako kagaayi akakwatanga essimu mu nyumba yaako olumu poliisi yajja ne kadduka ne ku live. I remember kaddukako ne ku live. That guy and any other person like him, we need a public statement from Noop about such people. Kubanga beba sources of damage. Nefe, we are Kyagulanyi, team Kyagulanyi forever. Ugandans and diaspora, tetuva ku Kyagulanyi. Abatuva ko mugende. I love you, my brother Fazil. God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless you too. Thank you very much for those videos. And I hope Mukuru Waiswa is listening as well as he tries to come back. Kubanga, he had a problem with the network. All right. Okay. Okay. Hello. Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Webale kuwuliriza ssebo.
Nze nyina ensonga yange ennyangu ntono genda lwawo.
Ssebo.
Mbadde nsaba omukulu Waiswa Mukumbi. Akoze Nuufu nga Nuufu erina ngeri ki gyekwata ku ba MPs. Nakyogerako ebigambo bye tumanyi nti ebimu sinabyo. Kujja waliwo MP bamuyita Kalyambo ayina ebigambo n'agamba mbu Nuupu egamba mbu Museveni erina kyekoze ng'abantu bakyali makomera abaana bafuna. Waliwo ne MP omulala ow'Ennakifuma yali ku live n'agamba struggle yaggwa akaseera kakolera abantu. Twadressinze tutya nga NUP adressinze tutya abagundi aba MP abavayo ne boogera ebigambo kubanga babyogera ku live sigamba nti babyogera mu kyama babyogera ku live n'olaba nti yabadde ku mukulu n'ayogera ebigambo nga NUP erina nkola ki ey'okukwasaganya abakulu abavuddeyo ne boogera ebigambo bwebyo.
Struggle yaggwa.
Nayimirira ku live n'ayogera kaseera kakolera abantu bange naye nga video erikodingiddwa ne training ku video. Nze manyi ekyandeeta mu struggle nga nze omuntu teri muntu asobola kunzija mu struggle. Tola His Excellency yatugamba nti struggle esinga omuntu yenna naye waliwo abantu baffe abagoberera abakulembeze baffe be boogedde. Ekigere nti nga yo NUP eyimiriddewa okukwasa empisa ba MP baffe kubanga waliwo abamu nga bali banoonya mirukaadi nga baagifuna. Segera kyokyo tukikirize.
Kitegere ekibuzo kyo kale
twagala
kale kitegere. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay. All right. There's a brother who called from UK and I picked him Simtadeku live. But brother, if you can call back again, the one from Conservative Party, and give your opinion publicly, it would be very helpful. I remember I picked your call, but like in a private manner. So, but I got the points anyway. So if you're still watching, you can call again and put the views out there, because it's not only Waiswa that is watched. It's not only Mr. Waiswa that is on, but so many other people. And by giving those suggestions, we can be helped in one or the other. Thank you. All right, so Kanzanyo, no?
Wabala otuweereza anti nze ekibuuzo kyange kiriwo ekiti waliwo abantu abamu bo balowooza oba Kyagulanyi.
Hello. Hold on just a minute. Let me just connect to my. Yeah, you can speak now. We can hear you, boss.
Yeah, hi. As I said, my name is Leon. I'm a British Ugandan, and I was just wanted to check as a Conservative member, and I wanted to check why Bobby Wine doesn't want to come to UK, and if there's any reason regarding a statement I had. I think Ichuli, some guy watching Uganda called Ichuli, the Isma. He said there's a guy in Birmingham who I think is the reason why Bobby Wine has been refused to come. But that was, if that's the case, I think that was a long time ago. Bobby Wine's view has already changed in terms of I think LGBT. But then I think as we can find, I can find a way to find out why, and if possible through the member of the parties, a lot of people with as a work with Ministry of Justice say we can access, try and find out even through Pretty Patel, if just the visa is the problem, or find out the bottom of the line why the reason why he can't come, and then we can make sure he come and visit us, because we need to see him here as well.
Okay.
And on top of that, as I said, I think one of your caller from USA, people within the party always, people use Bobby Wine's name for anything. When you open it, actually they're not talking about Bobby Wine. I mean, you can't help it, but there are some people within the party that think the views they have is just completely out of the equation. It doesn't really support the struggle. So how are we going to fix that? Especially if they're within the party.
What do you mean?
That makes sense. I don't know if they're councillors or.
Like, do you mean like whenever?
I mean, I think they're a member of the NUP, but I can always see them within the meeting when Bobby Wine is addressing his MPs or the nation. You see, he's always there, but then there are certain things they come up with really that doesn't really help the struggle, because when you make a statement and you don't have a foundation or any reason, if accountability, in other words, people just utter nonsense, and then we should have facts before we come up and start saying things regarding NUP or people have been arrested or people within our struggle. We need to have facts, because that's the way the law works. If you don't have any facts, just shut up. Otherwise, the enemy always pick up from the loopholes or the information we give them. That's how they make their foundation, and it ends up saying, "Oh, we are falling apart." We are not falling apart, but I think we need to. The NUP has to improve on that as well.
All right. Okay.
But more importantly, it's about Bobby Wine. For me, that's I really would love to see we can find out for.
Sure. I will link you up with Mr. Waiswa as well and some other people, and then you can see what we can do.
Please, yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Yes, Mukuru Waiswa Bangambye, his phone has abruptly went off, but he is going to be back shortly. Yeah, his phone went off abruptly, unfortunately, but he's going to be back. Okay. Hello. Yes, sir.
Finally, today I get through on your line.
Yes, sir.
Congratulate myself. And thank you for the service and what you do. My name is Michael.
Nice to hear from you, Michael.
Today, I must appreciate that you were spot on. Oftentimes, I've been watching the interviews, and I must say, I'm sorry to say this. I know you will take my criticism right. I must say sometimes you're not spot on the questions that are relevant. Today, you were very, very, very spot on. And I was wishing that this interview would go for something like 3 or 4 hours, because we're getting enlightened, and I must appreciate.
Thank you.
Now, the issue about the last question that you asked, it was very, very paramount for us to understand, because I think Jeff has been teaching about this. It's only that maybe he's teaching in Uganda and some people don't understand Uganda, but there are people that will come to do their propaganda just because they want views and get money on YouTube. One. There are people that will want to do that propaganda to maybe secure someone. For example, they may say, Mubiru is dead, he has been tortured, he is dead, he has been taken to Mulago until the security brings him out. And there are people that just want to be, okay, there are people that say the truth so that they deter the effect of what would be happening. I'll give an example to that. There was one guy who alerted us on the bombs. There is a guy who alerted us on the Jambia. There is a guy who alerted us on the school fires. And they happened, but it's just because we didn't take them as serious. Now, it is us to use our knowledge and understand. But then there are also those NRM propagandists that use it as an avenue to portray Noob as propagandists and liars. Now, I don't know how we're going to do that, how we're going to deal with that. Because if you come up and you say 7 is dead and every region is happy, people are celebrating, they're slaughtering cows, and they find out the guy is alive. I mean, it portrays the party in a bad position. I don't know how we're going to do that. Okay. I know that you are not so much patient.
No problem.
With us to talk for.
No, it's all right. I will address it to Mr. Waiswa. Good enough, he's back in studio now, and hopefully I'll throw some of these questions to him, and we can continue the conversation. Okay, so let me. Okay, I'll hear from you.
No, before you take me off, I was working with Pastor Muwonge on how to work in the business. But Pastor Muwonge, I think he has now concentrated on the Busoga. I would like Waiswa to address it if at all the structure has changed or we are working in a rubber double style.
Pardon, what's the last thing you said?
I was working with Pastor Muwonge,
okay,
because he was one of the mobilizers of the Eastern, and I am from Bali, so I wanted him to take the message to Bugwere, to the Buked region, basically Bugwere, Utaleja, and Gishu, and Bamasaba region, but it was only once, and he hasn't done that yet. He only went there once, and he did a very, very good job. I don't know whether he has now been restricted to only Busoga or the work is still on, because he had done a good job.
Okay, good.
One thing I can mention about that is because he's a representable figure. Now, when we go with our hair on the head, people in Bugwere, Butaleja see us as nuisance. So when we take somebody like Pastor Muwonge or somebody, it makes.
Sure. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah. All right, guys. Now I'll stop the phone calls for now, and for those of you who have managed to have your questions through, we shall come back to them. Mr. Waiswa, some people are saying that now I'm really split on this particular issue. I don't know what to do. Some people say you should mix with Uganda. Some people say we do not speak enough English, and so they miss out on a lot. And I don't know. I think you should strike the balance in one more or the other. You should find this. You as a person, you should strike the balance. So by the time we left, whereby I think you had some technical difficulties, and I hope you grant us more time to address most of these issues. I was trying to make a point, and this is something that has come up but from different people. It is whenever I was taking questions here, that there's too much information out there on the internet, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and at times the information comes from people who are supporters of the struggle, who are supporters of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who are supporters of NUP, and who are supporters of People Power. And we have seen people making claims that are unsubstantiated without any evidence, saying, for example, maybe soiling people's names, especially people like Impuga, so many people, especially MPs. They have been a subject of too much propaganda, too much attack that we have been seeing of late. And people's frustrations are that, of course, the party usually, okay, they will make a statement, but at times the statements are abstract. And at times, maybe it might be a communication strategy for the party in one way or the other. But still, it leaves the people hanging on what the party position on the matter is. For example, if someone that has been attacked is the Honorable Matthias Impuga, or if it is Kazime Bashir Mbazira, and these people's names are not mentioned, then it lacks, for some people, it lacks clarity. And it actually makes it look for some that the perpetrators of these things, or these words, or whatever, these things, I don't know how I describe them, but the perpetrators of this sort of propaganda, they claim that the posts are being written in their favor. But also there's the idea that the party, usually the position that takes that, they say that, okay, do not mind about that. Like, those ones are time wasters and stuff like that. But unfortunately, having worked on Facebook for quite a while now and social media, usually social media, that's not how it works. It works with clarity. For example, if Waiswa has been attacked, that Waiswa ate money, some people think that the only thing that can erase that is if Waiswa comes and clarifies that, look here, guys, I never ate any money. You see, that's the only way it can be erased, right? And it goes on record. But unfortunately, I think people are not getting that from the side of the party. So, Mr. Waiswa, how should we... and I'm getting some feedback from that side. I think something is playing, a radio or something. So I gave you that brief background just for you to understand where I'm coming from and have this conversation about this particular issue. So for you as a party, and as a spokesperson, because you're in the Department of Communication and all this kind of stuff, so what is the best way? Why is it that it has always... Why has it been a wee bit difficult for the party to address these cases head on? Or at times maybe the party has decided to ignore them and then they escalate. Or why is it that why can't the party maybe handle these issues from the inside before they explode to the public? Because whenever they explode to the public, they really give a bad face, and to the people it doesn't really look good. And it is left for us bloggers who have little information of what's going on in the party to come and make clarifications, especially for things that we don't know of what is actually happening. So what would be your take on that entire thing?
Well, it comes back to the very question you were asking before we went off. I'm apologetic to the fact that I went off, but you can realize that I've even changed the setting. I did not want to do this in the car, but I had to go and work on other settings and such that I'm up and running. That is always expected sometimes. Now, propaganda. Positive and negative propaganda. The background of this revolution is for everybody to have an empowered voice. And that the reason why we looked at everybody having an empowered voice is that you could not suppress one voice. Because if you have one voice, like you saw what happened in Arua, General Museveni anticipated that we had not organized early enough, and therefore he could easily isolate Kyagulanyi as an individual, either kill him, either it is about isolation. The dictatorship in this revolution, for them, their biggest weapon is isolation. Isolate Waiswa from Fazil, isolate Bobby Wine from the masses, and that has been projectively done with all the other systems they have been using. Now, on comrades'
on comrades, I want comrades to realize that many of us back here are struggling to fulfill the promise to Ugandans of removing Genome 7. And that we are doing. We are doing that, and we shall do it extremely to the last extreme. We will go to the last extreme that it may even become very difficult to have these conversations. But the purpose of why I came to give this information is because this should be the yardstick of how we move. Once we are disunited, it is very expensive for even the leaders to have time to think for the revolution, because you are firefighting. When people are fighting out there, it is, and we have to reply, it is called firefighting, and it is never good in a revolution. Point number 2, we always make statements wholesomely simply because we don't do it wholesomely. We do it wholesomely simply because we are not agreeable to handling individualistic problems. If Waiswa has a problem, if he has faced a challenge, even when we are addressing the challenge of Waiswa, we don't look at it with immediate medicine. We project, because everything that happens gives us an insight of how big it can be worse. So when we are coming back with a cure, we come up with a cure that has longevity. That is not short term. So it would not be right for a political party to come on clarification of a particular point where it has not created a lot of mistrust, to come and begin naming names. You see this one, you are saying it is going to compel you, the state will compel you every time. Instead of coming with progressive statements, you will come to explain positions of your people. We have said, era tusigala tukyogera nti tubalabira ku bikolwa byabwe. Tetwagala kwogerera buli muntu. Tulabira buli muntu.
Just there, is this a weakness within the party? For example, when we have councillors that we gave card to big flag bearers for the party, and maybe they are misbehaving, don't you have like some sort of code of conduct or things of that sort? Because there is also a question that someone here raised, saying that there are some MPs that are actually saying that sawa ya yebyobufuzi yagwa kati sawa ya kolera bantu. And someone quoted an MP from Nachifuma and another MP that if you struggle, right, I don't want to quote verbatim, but he was like implying into if you struggle for now, it's okay to be the body, now it's okay to kolera bantu. And you know, maybe that could be positive for the party or what. I don't know what you make of that statement. But when we see different MPs making such statements, and then we are seeing councillors making such statements and stuff like that, is it like a weakness in the party, or is it like you know, something is being done on the matter?
For example, let me tell you on Rubaga. Let me give you a very good example of Rubaga. We instituted a commission of inquiry. I was the secretary of that commission of inquiry. It was led by Honorable Aisha Kabanda. We discovered 19 councillors with the NUP ticket fell short in the speakership race. We have the names of the 19. But then parties and justice is a process. I can tell you that a few months ago, we developed the code of conduct. We have also established the disciplinary committee. Now, these reports will definitely go to those institutions, because those will be the institutions to give final ruling on the fate of those colleagues of ours. We do not want to act with impunity. We want to act through the whims and rims of the Constitution of the National Unity Platform, in consonance with the Constitution of Uganda, with due respect and regard to the Multi-Party Organizations Act. because we don't want tomorrow to have lots and lots of litigation simply because we did not follow the law to the letter, and yet we have time and can follow the law to the letter. We have a few elements in the leadership, in the party, that have not up to date aligned themselves to understanding our core values. Our core values that many other people do not know, by the way. And I think I will request maybe for us to get some other time and come and teach about our core values, the drifts: discipline, fidelity, inclusiveness, service, fidelity, service, discipline, inclusiveness. If you don't have that on your fingertips as a member of the National Unity Platform, if you don't have the drifts, then your challenge of understanding what we stand for, you will fall short of that. And I believe as members of the National Unity Platform, we must come out always as a team and unified as a people, so as to manage and follow the dictator with cohesion. But this division that comes within, it is very disturbing even for us, because you are on so many occasions pushed to go and give answers on behalf of others that you are not responsible about. To people who move with Honorable Kyagulanyi and they come up with different statements, the party chose official persons to give communication on their behalf. The president is a president of Ugandans, and we always give him liberty and opportunity to face so many people. He takes photographs with different people, even strangers, because they are strangers to him, but he is not a stranger to them. He's their president. So we cannot stop them from accessing him as supporters, despite that we have a lot of bottlenecks and processes. Now, many people have used that as an advantage. Somebody comes around the president, others have come and gone, being bought by the state. Others have come because they have personal interests, and where those personal interests have fallen short, they have decided that we are not right, they have gone against us. Others have aligned themselves to us to simply tap the numbers and get the space to come and lambast us. Now, we are aware of all that. What is important is to have the president secure from those people. Anybody who comes and makes statements that don't fall in the values of the National Unity Platform, even when he is close to the president, that person should be treated as a person who is working for the longevity of Genome 7. Because if you are around the president, then you must reciprocate the character of the president. But I know they are elusive people, they are excited young people, but we continue to talk to them, we continue to teach them, we continue to build their capacity. We are cognizant of that. On the members of parliament, the reason we had a retreat was also to enhance and discuss these issues. And yes, we did discuss these issues. We are on the same page, and we expect that this year will extremely be better than next year. I want also to urge all those members who think that blackmailing others is an addition to the struggle. I want to tell you it is a subtraction to the struggle. There are people we have lost in this struggle simply because they were chased out of the struggle by others. And we do not want to be the ones to give Genome 7 people, and yet we are supposed to be getting people from him. I want to urge all of you members of the diaspora, the strongest force in the world is unity. If you look at how much we have moved with you people, all doing their roles the way you've been doing them, cohesively, it speaks on the truth that when we are united, we can ably get to where we want to get. I know there is egocentrism. People are egocentric, and that is natural. There's an assumption of might. Somebody will think that, you know, now I am big, I can do whatever I want to do. But you're big, you're not big Don't lie to yourself. This is a struggle of Ugandans against Museveni. So people must realize that we can only be big, including me, when General Museveni has fallen. So for you who thinks that you're going to castigate others out of the struggle for your personal might, you're very wrong, you're mistaken, and you shall not allow that. That is a very firm position on that.
All right. So, okay. Now, thank you very much for that. Now, there's something I've realized in the struggle that we don't have so much information about what is happening in the rest of the country. We have so much information about what is happening in Buganda region, or let's say central region, but we don't know a lot that is happening in the western part of Uganda, a lot that is happening in the eastern part of Uganda, and north as well as these other parts. Whereas I do understand the fact into what way we maybe to get. For example, if you're speaking about the education system, that okay, schools have been reopened, those are general problems that we all face as a country. But then these regions, they also have unique problems. And this brings me to a very important aspect. Whereas in Buganda region, people could be speaking about problems within the Uganda Kingdom and how Museveni has mishandled and, tried to play politics with the kingdom and played politics with religion and stuff like that. There's an event that happened in Eastern Uganda, and this is where I want to have your opinion on the matter, given the fact that you come from Eastern Uganda, that most people might not have followed the story that was making rounds on social media. I've seen that the Chabazinga has said that it is not true or whatever, but it is said that the clan leaders, I think in Busoga, you will clarify on the matter, they voted the Chabazinga out. Now, some people might look at it as a non-issue that is, not. You should explain to the people why that issue matters for Ugandans who are change-seeking and change-loving Ugandans. Why that matters, and to your understanding as a person who comes from Eastern Uganda, for that matter, who comes from Busoga, is there any politics at play in weakening the institution of the Chabazinga in Eastern Uganda? And what does this mean for the politics of Busoga as well as Eastern Uganda going forward? And then I would come to another question that one of the listeners put forward about Pastor Muwonge and the mobilization and things of that sort. But first, give us your view and tell Ugandans why the events in Busoga Kingdom really matter for the struggle as well as for Uganda.
First of all, I speak about this with a very heavy heart because it concerns us all as people from Busoga. It is a bit shaming. That is a fact. I was the first personal assistant to the first Prime Minister of Busoga, of this kingship, Dr. Mbawala. And I know where we came from to having His Royal Highness Nadiope Gabula Wilberforce IV on being consecrated to the kingdom. Bwemba nzijukiza bana Uganda nti Chabazinga oyo yatuuzibwako wakati mu kulwanagana okw'amaanyi era okwafiiramu abantu, ng'era waaliwo okuvuganya okwali okw'amaanyi ne Nadiope. Ne Nadiope waliwo okuvuganya okw'amaanyi ennyo n'abeekaliro era ababadde bagamba nti kati balonze omulala Columbus. Now, Busoga is made of 11 hereditary clans. Now, all of these sit to create the Chabazinga. Now, out of these 11, they choose from 5. They choose from Kaliro, they choose from Luwukatabingwa, they choose from Bugweri, they choose from Gabla, and they choose from the Basigini. Now, those 5 clans where the royals come, they can all produce a prospect Chabazinga. Abo bonna mwezo 5 ziri 11 ez'abalangira naye mu 5 mwe muva alina okubeera ki Kyabazinga. Kyova olaba owulira amannya abiri, owulira erya Columbus n'owulira n'eryani n'erya Nadiope, kubanga Columbus ye mutabani wa Kyabazinga eyaliko eyafa eyassa omukono ono alyoke Waako, kati Waako ye taata wa Columbus. Kakati
and Gabula, is he a grandson of Nadiope, the one of 1962?
Gabula is the grandson of Nadiope, the one of 1962. Yes. Now, as a result of that, we had, as a kingdom, we had the processes. General Museveni yali awagira Columbus. Fe nga tuwagira Gabula. Abasoga era Gabula gali maanyi g'abantu agamutuuza ku ntebe gy'alamuliramu olwaleero. Wadde General Museveni twamusinza amaanyi n'amala ne yeetaba ne ku mikolo egyo, naye that was not his preferred candidate. First things forward, bayanguwa mangu ffe Waiswa abalina dissenting views mu Bwakyabazinga okutandika obutarecognizing waka waffe n'okubanga twali bye tuwaayo ng'ebirowoozo tebikyabayingibwa. And later on, the formation of people power did not help. That made my communication and the kingship really very difficult. Why am I driving all that and the background? Is to tell people that what is at play in Busoga is real politics, such that obuwanguzi Kyagulanyi bwe yafunayo taddamu bufunayo in anything. General Muhoozi yakureatinga omukwano ne Kyabazinga waffe. Naye omukwano ogwo nga guli plastic era gwafa tegukyaliwo. Kakati abantu abali balowoozebwa nti be bali bakwatiridde obwa Kyabazinga yali omukyala Rebecca alitwala Kadaaga. Ng'era bali balowooza Abasoga bavaayoko ne bagamba nti tetukyetaagana kuyita Museveni ku mikolo gyaffe, tulinawo speaker, tulinawo Kadaaga y'anaabanga omugenyi omuki omukulu. Anite Amongo, Deputy Speaker wa Parliament, yafumbira omusajja bamuyita Magogo, naye musajja w'ebuyende musajja Musoga. Batandika okukola emikolo e Kamuli, era Fazil njagala kugamba olwaleero nti Anita Amongo kati yeeyita Mama Busoga ewaffe Busoga. Kubanga ayagala okuddira mu bigere bya Rebecca alitwala Kadaaga, kati ne basala oluwenda nga bakozesa abamu mu ba elements abali ewa Kyabazinga, kuba Kyabazinga takyayogera na Muhoozi. Njagala munfune bulungi. Kati Muhoozi anoonya Kyabazinga tamufuna. Alowooza nti yakomyewo waba Waiswa. Asindika abamu ku bakulembeze mu kingdom okumakinga sure nti basobola okutabangula kingdom, addemu abeere ne grip ne General Muhoozi abeere ne grip ne Kyabazinga waffe ow'e Busoga. Mu bantu be bakozesezza amannya tetukyagakweka, mulimu omusajja bamuyita Osman Abdul Nur, akola nga Deputy Prime Minister wa Kingdom. Era mu bufu obwo bwe bumu kati politics ali at play, kubanga abalangira baffe abasinga tebalinaamu ki sente. Museveni yagaana otuddiza ebyaffe, so they are not doing well financially. I want to be very polite and say the truth. Kakati esente nga bw'omanyi General Museveni baali babawaayo emmotoka n'amafuta tebakyakola ki tebakyagasobola kuba akabonero k'obugagga mmotoka. Kati abalangira abo abamu balwanira niceties ezo ezibeerawo ezijja nga zijja okubabeezaawo, buli bwe zirekera okuba nga teziriiwo gavumenti eyingiramu abo n'eteekawo obutakkaanya nga bwe yateekawo mu kusooka ng'ono tumuleeta, kubanga era mu kusooka yateekawo embeera yonna bw'oba muzeeyo ne mufuna that history okulaba nti Nadiope tatula ku ntebe. Kakati ekiriwo era kyenjagala bannayuganda wano muwulirizeewo nnyo, nakyemalira buli muntu yenna akuŋŋaanya abantu nga tabakuŋŋaanya ku lulwe abatakyamwagalawo. Olwaleero bwakyabazinga tubadde tumaze okubuzimba ng'abantu batandise okuburecognizinga massively era nga barecognizinga the role they can play. Kye yasooka okukola nga tubuildinze those numbers and people to believe in the institution. Yasooka interactinga ne Kyabazinga waffe ne tumugamba nti obuzibu bwe Busoga bwavu era twagala okumalawo obwavu mu mulembe omugabula. Kaziru Mayanja General Museveni ajoga. Kye yakola yamugamba abeere mukozi we mu ofisi ye. Ne babajjayo akameza awo ne bamuwa ne bamugamba ojja tuulanga awo okumalawo obwavu mu Busoga. Kyabazinga akulaga olwo amunafuya. Okumunafuya nti ne mu bantu abamumazeeko amaanyi gakola ki? Gayina. So eno yemu ku nkola ya General Museveni. Yemu ku nkola ya General Museveni gy'ayina. Ezza abantu abasobola okuŋŋaanya abantu okuba buso babuulira ekituufu. Kasita oba nga tobakola for his name and his existence, abajja kumalawo. Ekyokubiri, an attack on these traditional institutions is systematic. We don't have cultural institutions in Western Uganda. The one of Bunyoro, you and me know that it is nearly not existence because of the handwork of the NRA. You know his comments about the King of Toro. At one time, the King of Toro even said he was going to fast. But General Museveni said, let him go and fast such that that belly is cut a little bit. He was growing too fat. He is replying all that to a king, diminishing their existence. General Museveni does not believe in these monarchies. What is disturbing? He doesn't believe in monarchies, but he is creating a dynasty. Because between me and you, what is breaking the kingship of Busoga is simply because the king is not in good books with General Muwonge. And now General Muwonge and the Anites, because Anite took on the mantle of selling General Muwonge in Uganda, they want to come to Busoga, blackmail the Kyabazinga, such that they throw him to the side of General Muwonge and they move their Muwonge project. And we want to thank the Kyabazinga. He has remained fought, he has stood firm on his legs, and I hope this time, if we maintain that stand, Busoga is going up in greater heights. So, ekintu kye Busoga kinene, nga bwe nkikunyonyodde tuli mu lutalo si lutono era kikoze bulungi n'olubuuza naye tujja duvunduka.
Okay, lastly on that particular issue, is the election that the clan heads held any binding? Is it legitimate, or are they going
No,
to
it is.
It,
Many of them on that team you saw were imposters. In fact, they have an offense. Some of them even have an offense of selling clan land worth 1.2 billion shillings. But those are nitty-gritties that are back home. So many of those who you saw on the media, they have a lineage in the clans, but they are not the ones that are supposed to perform those duties. Those duties are performed by people abantu abo abaliko emmandwa. Kati gwe kuba walaba bafaanana nga abaliko emmandwa.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now there's a viewer who asked an important question. No, before actually I go to that, there is something that I came across, because we all know that Busoga region, Eastern region, is one of the tourist destination of Uganda. Like, so many people come to Jinja and all the source of the Nile and stuff like that. Like, literally, there is so much that usually happens in this particular area. So in this particular part of the country, very, very important. Now, speaking about tourism, there is something I saw last week. Museveni launches something called Destination Uganda, something to deal with tourism. That trying to okufuna abalambuzi nti bajje visiting Uganda, bajje balambule Uganda and all this kind of stuff. Because you who is in the communication docket of the party and us who are in the diaspora and who are looking at these things happening, the kidnaps, the arrest of Segirinya Muhammad and Alan Sewanyana, is Uganda really a destination that Museveni should be promoting for people to go and visit? Now, I do understand, of course, that to us, that doesn't look right, okay? But then to him, of course, he needs the money, in one way or the other. So that's why I would ask a question. Why? What should we do? What should we do? And what would be the party position? Because Mr. Waiswa, there is this argument that I've actually faced with so many people. People are saying that some people who are not so much into following the events in the country, they are like, guys, time for politicking is done. People need to make money, take their children back to school. People need to make money and take and all this kind of stuff. And then we have all these sectors, is tourism, education, health, and all these other sectors that drive the economy. The sectors should get up and running. And some people are like, no, guys, politics is done. Let us now do business. What is the party position? Should we do business? Should we go back to work? Should we be promoting Uganda, like these things that the Musevenis are putting out in terms of tourism and all this kind of stuff? Because most people would push back on the party and you and say that, okay, guys, you are trying to say that Uganda nungi, but programs in is that tourism, is and all this kind of stuff, you're bashing them. So what would be your take on such arguments? I want to take out there. We are just into maybe tuzanya chiremia or party zanya chiremia in one way or the other. And what should we do for us who are out here, especially to help in disseminating this information that you would like us to disseminate in one way or the other? I don't know if it makes sense, but I've tried my best.
I want to urge Ugandans in the diaspora to disease it, to resist it, not to engage in anything that adds Museveni's existentiality in Uganda. And that one, I want to be very clear. Anything that makes Museveni stay here for another day is not something the National Unity Platform should accept and support. Secondly, all those things you see are diversions that they are launching. The assumption that they are launching all whatever they say they are launching is a lie. All those are scams that take a lot of public resources in processes of launching them, but they never go anywhere. It is a matter of him meeting with his niece. His niece tells him the program. They give them the money, or a daughter or a sister, and then they come to Kololo and unveil without a plan. Because you had, what was the plan that they had? They have no plan. It's a matter of making him the old man available. It is a ceremonial process. It is not what Ugandans must achieve. Because if you want to have your country as a destination, you're competing with countries like Kenya. What is Kenya doing? Kenya, those who are talking about politics are not simply aware. In Uganda, we are still living on the infrastructure facile of the colonialists. We are living on the infrastructure of the colonialists. We have no new road. The only new road we have is the Entebbe Express Highway, and it went for as exorbitant as $2 million per kilometer. Unprecedented. So if you're going to run away from politics, because politics determines governance, politics determines the infrastructure, politics determines the health policy, politics determines the education, politics determines governance. Now, you must understand that General Museveni has mastered the projectivity of always bringing things that create as if he's doing something, but he's always doing nothing. So to say that we should do business, Uganda should not do business, not until it is in the right hands, because even the money that comes out of that tourism facility is not reciprocated on the ground. The greatest challenge we have today is a dictator, is a man who has no rule of law, is a group of bandits who are not exposed, and therefore the right thing to do is to focus first on how we liberate ourselves from that group. Because even if we came tomorrow, Fazil, we will not enjoy our country the way we are supposed to. We shall only set a foundation for the future, which has been long, long overdue. So my position on that is that I'm not agreeable, because I know it is a hoax. There's nothing they are going to sell. You know, they have brought an issue of buy Uganda, build Uganda. They have not followed suit of the same. It is the same, it's the deceitful. I want people to understand that General Museveni is a deceitful person who can never put in place anything that he has said. A man who didn't give you money for food when you are in time of need and the money had been passed. Which infrastructure does he have to manage tourism? In Jinja, Jinja has the potential to even annually have returns of over $200 million annually. $200 million in terms of tourism, because we have the source of the Nile, we have both Lake Victoria and River Nile in Jinja, in Busoga. We have, on top of that, we have the different waterfalls. Forget about those idiots who went and removed our Bujagali Falls in the name of a bogus energy project of Bujagali. Because we believe if Bujagali had not been tampered with and we collectively did what we were supposed to do, we could, as Busoga, even collect over $300 million of tourism. Now, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. But because our systems leaving Kampala to Jinja, apparently I'm now in Kampala. But if I wanted to leave for Jinja, it is 80 kilometers Fazil. I don't know how fast you move that side. 80 kilometers, I need 6 hours in Kampala to move 80 kilometers. Now, which tourism are you promoting? When the tourist center of Jinja needs 6 hours to reach there.
Oh God. Yes, Waiswa, tuchakuwira. Otuwira, eh? Okay. Network, once again, I think. Now, we are going into our final segment. So, what I will do here is muwereze ebibuuzo byammwe, mukube essimu, omukulu agenda biwuliriza, and wanaaba akomyewo agenda kuddamu ebibuuzo. But make your questions straight to the point and be straight to the point and brief as possible. So, if you have any questions. Hello? Hold on. Just a minute. Chip. Just 1 minute. Hold on just a minute, please. I'm just trying to connect you on my Bluetooth so that okay. All right, so okay, yes, sir. Kale nyabo.
Twebaza omulimu gw'okola tusiimira ddala abatasimba baleke abo batuwaani buwaani naye tusiima nnyo eno ku bulonde waffe bandagwamu tusiima nnyo. Ekibuuzo kyange kiri emirimu egimu egyagabibwa agirabika abamu
netwaka y'obulamu awo nnyabo tereramu katono emirimu egimu egyakola ki?
Ekibuuzo kyembuuza bw'ogenda ku mirimu egyo waliwo woogera nga tebakukkiriza kukola mulimu ogwo oba obugendesebo engeri mwamu abantu abamulina abamwetoolodde aiza Mwami Kyagulanyi muwanvu nnyo bw'ati ate abamwetoolodde si ye size esaana okuba nti kugamba okumukuuma. Nze wano wendi ndi ku bya security naye teti like bw'aba akuumibwa ndabanga abagula nnyo nti complaints ebiri n'abagikutu omu ogenda okulaba nga akoma Mwami Kyagulanyi naye ng'ali eri maaso ye yageze dda abalala nga batunudde eri bagulawo nnyo ate bwe baba ne ku gundi bw'oba balaba abantu ne bamwetoola mangu awo bitewaize agoomerwamu nti complainingzeko emirundi mingi babituusa tebabituusa simanyi lwaki Mwami Kyagulanyi ekintu ekyo yennyini ng'omuntu takiraba namwe ababira ku videos ngezo bati mubate mulaba ekyo security ya mwami Kyagulanyi eri so low.
Kale network simba mukati ekibuzo kiri ku security ya mwami Kyagulanyi n'aba mwetoro
n'abantu beyalonda bamikwano gye bati bampi nnyo tekirambula.
Kale ngena kyogerayo tweyanza nnyo. Security abantu beyalonda bampi nnyo. Okay, all right, so if Waiswa comes back, I'm going to go down bibuzo now. So, sagala ku kumala budde bungi nnyo.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Nze ndi Uganda faayo nnyo njogere ku mpewaawo era kye njagala ottangaaza ekijjo tuyamba.
Hello? Hello?
Fazil.
Yeah?
How are you, sir?
I'm fine. How are you?
Thanks for the program.
You're welcome.
My name is John. I'm calling from UK. Today I will use English for the purposes of this program. My simple question to Honorable Waiswa Mufumbiro is, in our constitution, no constitution, do we have avenues where we can stipulate to record MPs with all this propaganda which has been going around that, oh, there is a fight, some MPs ate money? In our party constitution, is there any way, remedy, MP can be recalled and fresh elections held in case is breaching party constitution mechanism or methods operandi, so that we curb out any suspicious, sell out from any MPs who may be bribed in future? Ngabala bayinza okulya akasente. Waliwo engeri kankize mu lunyanyimbe, waliwo engeri mu constitution yaffe gye tuyinza okukomako ba MP bano nga tuyita mu constitution just ng'akatego nti singa tokola kiti, these are the avenues you can be recalled. You all remember NRM bwe yalina ba rebel MPs the likes of Sechikubo, constitution yaffe eyo provisions were just as a safeguard measure to create royalty, n'okukuumirawo royalty okubanga bannabyabufuzi tebakozesa kibiina nga kadaala okwetuusa mu buyinza ate ne bamala ne badizaatinga ebirowoozo by'aba abantu. Kati another question goes to Honorable Waiswa Mufumbiro as well. Nze mu ndaba yange, I think we need, since he's the deputy spokesperson and he still holds the position of head of patriotism and training, how engage social media activists or bloggers, much as there is no any signed contract with them, they can abobonna abayisawo enjiri ng'erabika ya National Unity Platform or People Power, how they can be streamlined, even though they have no contracts, naye nga party eyinza okumakinga their stand, tugezaako kukola mu kino nga nze ngamba. Twewale abantu abajja okujja okusooka bagisa abantu nti bali ku nkyukakyuka ate okutandika nga bwe tulaba waliwo kakyano ka NRM Soma aka UNN nga bakozesa umbrella, naye nga bw'otunulira programs zaabwe zonna omulamu abagumala, they are blackmailing His Excellency Kyagulanyi and blackmailing National Unity Platform. Nga beba analyst baabwe bonna whom they bring on their platforms like Jakana Naduli, their sole whatever being on that platform is just to demoralize and attack the person of His Excellency Kyagulanyi. Kati nga mwekyo tusaba head of patriotism and training Honorable Waiswa Mufumbira babeerewo n'ekiwandiiko ekiri clear how we can say nti ono wadde byakola naye kale tumulabire ku bikolwa bye naye tali naffe, si kyateeka nti buli kyayogera oyambadde akakoofiira nti kitegeeza gwoyogerera National Unity Platform. Nga na mu kino mukulu Fazil ompulira nga maliriza nga na mu kino ne ba foot soldiers bannyini abali ku ground abalina media platforms ze bakozesa mbadde nga ngenda nkiraba owulira Hello? Nga ndaba bakolamu programs, abamu bakola live programs, naye ng'olaba they are portraying a bad image of the party, what they have baked in terms of analysis, in terms of level of debate, nga nina besijja kwogera mannya. Naye nga olw'ensonga nti guno omugendo, everyone entered people power, it's a free entry, buli omu nga His Excellency bwe yagamba, everyone let them be a Kyagulanyi. But nkirabamu, nti mba foot soldiers baffe abamu naddala bali ku media platforms, they are doing a misrepresentation of the party. They are doing diversionary. Ngekyo mbadde nkisaba Honorable Waiswa Mufumbira ne Mr. Joel Senyonyi balabe, much as these people are not fully signed to National Unity Platform, bakola bwa nakyewa, but they can come up with method operanda eziyinza okuguidinga ebintu bino ebitransmittingibwa nti bw'oba tomanyi bya bufuzi like Faziru Mayanja tokola program nosawo open roof abantu ne bajja ne boogera ebyabwe n'okuwulira oli scenario ng'avuga ku live ye oyo gundi oyo mwami Faziru yali nnyonyi n'agenda e Uganda nga tebamukwata ekitegeeza mu nnyambi. So bino ebintu bino ate n'olaba nga tulinamu abantu baffe ababibayinga. Faziru Mayanja ali nnyonyi yagenda e Uganda tebamukwata kitegeeza akolera mu 7 nz'obisitere bisingamba kyerenjiga ne mbabuuza nga Joel Senyonyi nga Honorable Waiswa Mufumbiro gye bali ate nga basabula mu 7 left right center bonga gye bali e Uganda. Kati ekyo nkisaba Honorable Waiswa Mufumbiro bakolewo streamline kuba tulina okubuzaabuzibwa. Nze nga nze tusobola kubuzaabuzibwa naye ndaba waliwo abantu bebabuzaabuza. Webale nnyo se. Thanks.
Okay, welcome. Let's keep it short, guys. Tulindo mukuru akomewo. Hello? Yes, sir.
Ekibuuzo kyange mpozi njagala kubuuza mukulu Waiswa Mufumbiro, deputy spokesperson, simanyi nti kino kibuuzo kimugwanire naye kateeka ki gyenyinza okugamba nti foreign policy okulaba nti tulina kati e Uganda ensi za Africa nyingi nnyo zeetaaga okununula, especially okwenunula okuva ku badictator n'okwenunula ddala okuva ku bafuzi b'amatwale abanyuunyunsi. Kati tuyinza kukola tutya okulaba nti enjiri eno ya president waffe oba eya Nuupu gy'ereese nti Uganda tulina Abafirika okulaba nga tusaasaanya enjiri eyo mu nsi za Africa ezituliraanye nabo bennyini okutuyamba kati ng'ensi ezirimu demokrasi nga Kenya, kati tulina Zambia, Zambia tukoze tutya okulaba nti batuyamba naffe okwenunula ku nakyemalira oba naffe okusaasaanya enjiri yaffe mu Africa okulaba nti tununula Africa yonna okutwaliza awamu. Mwebale nnyo ssebo.
Okay. All right. Kubanga twali tulina okutandika earlier and then things got messed up and then but what I was suggesting is like there are so many questions that have gotten here. They are all recorded on this live video. I wanted to give you these next 5 or 10 minutes, whatever, 6 minutes to wrap it. We wrap this up. Then what we're gonna do is we can have another 1 hour live video for you to answer most of these questions that are being asked by people. Maybe some other day next week you can find for us time in your busy schedule, sir. Find somewhere and fix us in so that you can answer most of these questions, because people really have so many questions. If I show you the calls I have here, there are plenty. And what I will do is, for those who have sent voice notes, I'm going to send them to Mr. Waiswa, and he will adjust, and then he will be able to answer them. That's if he gives us another chance to speak to us next week. But I would like to use this opportunity to give him final moments so that we wrap this up. It is late in Uganda and something of that sort. If you have had any questions that have interested you, you can address them in the next 8 minutes maybe as we wrap this up, and then we can have another Q&A session perhaps maybe next week. Okay, over to you, Mr. Waiswa.
There are a lot of questions that have been asked. Unfortunately, I have really been bogged down by the internet services and later the power on the phone, but I'm back, and I promise that I will avail time. In fact, I've just discovered 1 hour is not enough. I will do more consultations with you, Fazil, not on short notice. We can do 2 hours. You can do 2 hours and we can have an hour of our own conversation and then 1 hour for the callers. So I will look through it tomorrow, and I'll confirm the day earlier than anticipated, because I've also on this side not been very clear. I've not been following very closely because of different hitches that I believe will be cured next time when my technical team is around me always. I have actually not had all the questions, but I had something about Rwanda.
Actually, the Rwanda thing did not come up. Which Rwanda? Which Rwanda? Oh, yeah. Yeah. It must have been about tribalism, I think, something of that sort. If you want to address it, you can throw it out there as well. So
now, on the issue of tribalism, the state has tried all through, from the start of when Kyagulanyi presented himself, to project him as a Kabaka Yeka person. And he benefits this because he uses that as a tool to malign and blackmail our revolution outside the jurisdiction of Buganda, that it belongs to only Baganda. And when we, the members of the National Unity Platform, jump on the narrative of being tribal, then definitely we lose it, because we want the whole country. But then I have also subscribed to the ideology that this must not be a tool by Genome 7 to stop Baganda from being assertive, because every person who has an opportunity should be assertive to the cause of deposing the dictator. But blackmailing the struggle that it belongs to a particular sect of people, I think those people are very detrimental to us, and we must not give them an ear. Everybody must work towards the origin of this struggle, and it is anchored on the reality that we have a problem of Genome 7 that we all came together to overthrow. I didn't know you, Fazil. I did not know all those other comrades in the diaspora, but we came for a common cause. It's like going to class. You go to school not knowing those that are going to become your obvious or alumni. But when you go there, you find them and you finish the course. So the course, we are all moving together, not as friends, not as brothers, not as colleagues, but in unison of solving a particular problem that affects our society wholesomely. That is why that should always supersede any thought. If you feel you want to break this revolution, think about the things you claim to be standing for. If you're standing for zero tolerance to corruption, by breaking the revolution, have you resolved that? If you're standing for end of anarchy, and by you blackmailing the revolution and leaving soldiers go everywhere, haywire as a result of frustration, are you adding a brick to the struggle? All of us who are in this family of National Unity Platform should be hospitable enough for one another and accommodate one another despite the discrepancy in whatever we believe in and the background of where we grew up from, because we're a collection of different people. There are those who grew up going to school. There are those who grew up hustling in the ghetto. There are those who grew up without fathers and mothers. There are those who grew up without even respecting their parents. But in this, we must respect one value, the value of unison in deposing the dictator. So the issue of tribalism, it affects people. I mean, I'm a Musoga. I am a very proud Musoga, and there's nowhere you'll find me minus saying that I'm a Musoga. But I should not use my being a Musoga to trample the revolution and my position that since I'm the deputy spokesperson, I'm a Musoga, therefore Musoga will reign. That will affect the Baganda and affect their energy towards fighting for this cause. And this has been Museveni and, of course, our other members of the opposition who have projected us as Baganda. But the National Unity Platform, both of members of parliament from Busoga and the Far East Uganda, The other members of parliament were simply cheated out of those elections because they wanted to drive that as the narrative. So tribalism is a bad vice. And it is part of the reasons why we are in this struggle to end tribalism. Therefore, we cannot be fighting to end tribalism and anchor in tribalism. We are the National Unity Platform. That entails that we are national in character. We are unity. We are unified as a people who are oppressed, and we have a platform that we all share to have the noble calling and the duty of following Genome 7, which is not an easy task. I have been also asked on the question of, I wanted to quickly talk about the issue of the international relations around East Africa. I have seen Kagame trot around the East African leaders. First, Genome, first of all, he's doing it illegally. He is not mandated by the Constitution of Uganda as a serving army officer. As a serving army officer to represent Uganda on state visits. It's not in anywhere, even in the UPDF. He is abusing his relationship with his father to spend government money on illegalities. That is number one. Number two, and this is to General Muwonge, you will only campaign in the military. You will only campaign in the military, but even in the military, you are campaigning there while the soldiers you are campaigning against are not having their magazines on their guns. And that speaks so much to the mistrust that even in the military against you. So what he is doing is to create a picture that he has touched with the East African leaders. You know his position against Kagame. But we are alive to those machinations and those photo opportunities that he has attained, but can assure him that the decision of Uganda's president was decided, and it was decided against his father.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Your parting shot on the entire show that we have held.
My parting shot to the entire show still comes out to the diaspora. I want to thank the diaspora for your effort. You have been you are a great team. You have worked on the finances to the level that Genome 7 believes that the National Unity Platform is funded by foreigners. But it has been the rise up of Ugandans who have come out with $1, who have come out with $2, who have come out with $100, $1 million, whatever that everybody has contributed. Thank you very much. But the cause that brought us together just got started. We need more energy. We need more formidability. We need more cohesion. We must work together. There is no reason whatsoever. There is no reason whatsoever we cannot work together to take away a problem. We must accept. We must not be egocentric. We must not think about ourselves. We must not think that we are mighty. Because our might is based on one line, that we are removing Genome 7. So if we all fail, we shall all be failures. If we succeed, we shall all be successful people. So let us unite to this cause. Baganda bange mwena abali mu diaspora njagala kubasaba okubeera obumu mmwe nga bwe mwalaba nga twali bumu mu campaign trail ne musobola okunoonya ssente nga ffeno bwe tutambula ne zitutambuza ne munoonya zi bulletproof nga ze twetaaga omukulembeze n'aba nga akuumiddwa bulungi. It is because mwali united. Manyi ti olutalo buli bwe luwangaala nga mulwana abamu batandika okuvaamu omukisa ogulowooza nti bisoboka. Kyenjagala obakakasa era nga Fazili kino nabagamba ne oli nti musobola kitwala mu bank. Ffe abali eno be mwesiga ne mwaziko obukulembeze buno obw'okutetenkanya n'okulafubana nti Genome 7 tumujja mu office. Njagala kubakakasa, we are going to do that, and we are doing that. What is remaining is that day when everybody will celebrate, finally, when we have deposed and toppled the dictator. But it is going to be easier when we are united. It is going to be easier when the diaspora is speaking one voice. I want
request all of you guys there who have those small petty issues in your mind, forget about them. If you have fallen on any ideological principle, stand up, dust yourself off, forget about the past, and we move forward, because we cannot afford, there's nothing our generation will explain to our grandfathers that we failed to remove Genome 7. Age is on our side, the people are on our side, luck is on our side, and time is on our side. The rest of the things that are bogging down the revolution are petty, and they should be dismissed. For all those who believe that you cannot work with another, then I think you're lost in this struggle, and you should find yourself quickly, because nobody should assume that their personal and egocentric interests are going to stop the formidability of this struggle moving forward. We know what we are facing. We have decided to face it like heads on. We are only requesting our colleagues that, because you just imagine if your voices were not there, how many people would be dead today in Uganda? If they can kill 54 people and assume it is a small number. I don't know where you are in my brother Fazil, how many people need to die for everybody to be up and saying what's happening. But here, Genome 7 killed, on his own admission, 54. So you cannot afford to be wherever you are and create division that is going to take us behind in removing Genome 7. That is not acceptable, and that we shall not tolerate.
Okay.
And as I finalize, this is my quotation from Nelson Mandela.
Yes, sir.
Nelson Mandela said that it is not true that your enemies should be our enemies. Okay? That your friends should be our friends. Life is a position of interest. You may be my enemy, but our main goal and our main interest that makes us friends is removing Genome 7. That must be the yardstick of all of us. Whenever you want to break away from this struggle, remember that I may not necessarily need to be your friend. I may be your sworn enemy, but I'm on your side fighting to remove the single denominator and the problem. That should be the driving force. Thank you very much, Fazil, for this evening. It has been a very constructive on my side. I have been able to learn something. I wish I would listen much to the people. And let's work together. Let's advise each other. Let's roll out together. Let us find ways of how best we can depose this dictator. It is not going to be an individual job. It is a team job. It is a NUP team job. Thank you very much, my brother.
Cheers. Thank you very much for the for sacrificing your time and giving us this wonderful opportunity to host you. It really means a lot for our viewers and us as a platform. All right, Abalabi, Namwe, thank you very much. Let us meet next week.